In March of 2019, Weezer will release their 13th studio album, The Black Album. This record will see the band continuing their experiments with hip-hop and pop music started 3 years prior on the White Album and fully actualized on their previous record, Pacific Daydream. Fans have been conflicted on the band's direction since 2005's Make Believe. While certain types of fans yearn for the chronicles of a hurt young man bleeding his heart out with power pop melodies and roaring, fuzzy, haunted guitars, Rivers Cuomo has preferred to tune his sensibilities as a chart-topping songwriter, leading to controversial records such as Make Believe, Ratitude, and Pacific Daydream. The band seems to be at a similar crossroads to where they were in 2005 and 2009, where they could see themselves further distancing old fans by continuing to follow a more accessible path, concocting the perfect pop song to a fault. Depending on who you ask, Weezer is either a chameleon that can stay relevant no matter what changes happen to the pop charts, or that embarrassing dad who tries way too hard to stay cool with the kids. Anyway, none of that crap matters because today we're talking about the Teal album. Roll the intro. Wait. Actually, that part about Weezer sounding like out-of-touch dads might actually be a little more relevant than I thought. We'll get into it. Just cue the intro.
His opinions are bad and his content is lazy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lazy Critiques, the show where I do like 10 minutes of research and then give you like 10 minutes of a video. You know, like the majority of YouTube now. So Teal album dropped on the heels of Weezer's cover of Africa, which the band wasn't really expecting much to come out of, but ultimately it became their highest charting single since Beverly Hills over 13 years ago. So the band figured, hey, why don't we make hay while the sun's still shining? And they released Teal album, a cover album consisting of all the things that influenced Weezer and Toto as well. A little bit of rock, a little bit of R&B, a little bit of pop music, a little bit of new wave. So they compiled it all into one big record. Weezer themselves are not strangers to covers. They've covered everything from Viva La Vida to Rainbow Connection to the State Farm jingle. Yes, our proud national anthem, the State Farm jingle. All who have a State Farm covered insurance policy know that State Farm is truly the greatest piece of insurance in our time. State Farm, for thee we shine. State Farm, the ultimate power. State Farm, like a good neighbor, always there, always in front of us, always shining. Oh, I just woke up from a consumer jingoist filled nightmare. Ugh. Anyway, let's go Anthony Fantano style and jump into this from worst to best, starting with... At number 10, and the worst possible cover I've ever heard Weezer do, it's Billie Jean. It's indicative of a lot when the first thing I wrote for this cover was, bad Weezer, go to your room. Rivers doesn't sound like Michael Jackson, I'm sorry. And the only good Billie Jean cover I've ever heard, period, was the one that Chris Cornell did a while back, somewhere around 2006 or so. But what really fails about this cover is the fact that it sounds like a karaoke song. And that's another big issue with some of the worst cuts on this record, is they sound like they were made for like a karaoke machine. And Rivers can't even hit the notes that Michael Jackson does, so he's down half register. So some of these moments that could sound really good with another vocalist are kind of botched by the fact that the band's not really trying here. Like, they're just phoning it in on the pocket, and that's why this is easily the worst cover on this record. Black Sabbath's Paranoid sits here at number 9, mostly because this one sounds like a Guitar Hero cover. It really does. It's kind of pathetic how bad Brian Bell's performance on this song is. They would have been better off getting Rivers, and I know that Bryan, you know, for what it's worth, tries his best with what they've got, but they play it so safe on this one. So safe. Disgustingly safe, and they don't really have the chops. Sort of like with, you know, that Billie Jean cover. Like, They don't have the Tony Iommi, Bill Ward, you know, I could just name off members of Black Sabbath that are, you know, slightly more talented for this type of music, for metal, specifically metal. I am not, you know, digging at anyone in this band for being untalented, because for what it's worth, you know, it's tracked well, it sounds okay. It's just a soulless husk of a cover, and that's really the biggest sin about this song. It's just soulless. There's no reason for it to exist. It's bad. It's bad. Don't listen to it. Our next cut on this record is No Scrubs, cover of the TLC mega hit. This is where we start getting into more interesting parts of the record. For what it's worth, Rivers sings his damn heart out on this song. Like, he is so in tune with what they were wanting to do on this cut. You can hear him really trying to squeeze out as much as he can from this song. Unfortunately, I don't think the band got the memo that they were trying for this one. So what we're left with is Rivers doing karaoke on a track. And it's a shame, because there could have been some really cool moments with this one. There's a bridge after one of the choruses that sounds pretty cool. They've got like this kind of grungy fuzz on it. But that's really the only standout moment outside of Rivers singing that gets it. I'd listened to this one once or twice. I don't think it's one that you're really going to want to listen to that often. You are way better off listening to the TLC original. And that goes for any TLC song, really. Like, they're timeless. They're classic. Don't cover TLC. They're too good. All right, at number seven, we have Weezer's cover of Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. It's a similar issue to what No Scrubs had. The vocal performance is absolutely stellar. The rest of the band kind of sounds like they're phoning it in. It's a little more interesting than No Scrubs, though, because I actually like some parts where the guitar and the synths start to interplay with each other, kind of interlock a little bit. Even the guitar solo is pretty good, but there's a few things holding this back. The kind of sameness of the cover to the original. And, you know, Rivers, again, knocking it out of the park, doing his best. But Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. Good, but not great. Actually, if you want to hear a band do a pretty good cover of it, I directed a video for Sarah and the Safe Word doing Sweet Dreams Are Made of This. You can, I'll link to it here or here or here, somewhere. I'll link to it somewhere. You can see that. It's a really good video. I'm still really proud of some of the shots I got in it. At number 6, we have Weezer's cover of Stand By Me. This classic song is actually done some justice here. They take a lot of good risks on this cover that pay off. I originally ranked this a little bit lower. It was like 7 or 8. But then I kept listening to this song, and it started growing on me how cool some of the risks that the band took were folding out to be. I really like how Rivers sells this. You know, the lyrics seem like they're up his wheelhouse in terms of a singing performance. The 808s on here are kind of interesting. It has like an 80s to 50s throwback feel. You know, like in the 80s whenever a lot of bands were going back to the 50s to do some covers. Like, I feel that kind of vibe on this track quite a bit. There's also some really good guitar parts that kind of remind me of like a Red Album throwback song. A solid cover. I guess it's gonna keep growing on me, but I think that the 2 new wave covers coming up are just a hair better, even if they're a little more on the safe side. Smack dab in the middle at number 5, we have Weezer's cover of Everybody Wants to Rule the World. This is another straightforward song, but it plays so well with all of the instruments, and Weezer actually, you know, caring about this cover a little bit. It's a really good impression for a second song on the record. The signature guitar tone of Weezer plays through whenever they go to the choruses. Like, there's a room where the light won't find you. Something like that. It's like you'd have to listen to it, but you know that signature Weezer tone, like that fuzzy, crunchy guitar. Other than that, I don't think the synthesizers are as good as the original cut for this song. It's such a timeless classic that you can't really top it. The theremin they added during the like, doing that instead of a bell pad was actually really cool. This is a middle of the ground cover. This is like right smack dab in the middle. Could have been a little bit better, but you know, I could listen to it again. I could easily listen to it again. But hopefully we all can agree that this is 100 times better than Ninja Sex Party's version of that, because, oh god, no one wants to hear y'all do these covers. Who are these covers for? Who are they for? Who are they for? Up next at number 4, we've got Take On Me. I could switch this one out for Everyone Wants to Rule the World, because they do kind of have a similar vibe to them in terms of like the sound quality and the actual quality of the cover. Just like Everyone Wants to Rule the World, the synths are a little bit weaker than the original. Kind of holds that one back a little bit. There's a few things they do on this, particularly Weezer's actual performance of it kind of reminds me of This Is a Pity from Make Believe, so I give it a pass there. It's fun, but, you know, just like Everyone Wants to Rule the World before it, I could listen to this. I probably wouldn't prefer to listen to this, but it's one of the better cuts on the record, and it's fun enough for it to go at number 4. These next 3, though, are good enough that you're not just going to be hearing me giving the same spiel over and over, so. Right here at number 3, we've got Africa, which is, I don't have to say much about this cover, but I will say that a lot of people consider this to be a safe cover, and yeah, I can see where they mean it's safe at certain points, like the synths don't really deviate from there. I like how them going a step down in the key makes it sound a little richer. It's kind of sleepier. It's got a little bit of a trip hop vibe to it, and I really like Pat Wilson's drumming on this track. The hip hop in the pocket thing makes it sound incredibly modern, and I think, and for these next few cuts, it's going to be Pat Wilson's drumming is going to be what saves these tracks from being just kind of mediocre. And not that this one's mediocre. This is a good cover. There's a reason this got, like, on the charts. It's a solid, wonderful cover. If I had any issue with it, the mixing is a little weird, but the mixing is a little weird on all of these. It's kind of obvious this album was a little bit rushed. But this is a great song. This is a great cover. I listen to this cover all the time. Sometimes I'll listen to it and prefer it to the original. Sorry, Toto. I love you guys to death. I really do. I really think Africa is amazing. But there are times where I'm feeling that more sleepy vibe of the Weezer cover. And that's why it sits here at number 3, where it should be. It's a good bronze medal song. Next up on our list is Weezer's cover of ELO's classic Mr. Blue Sky. Now, this was originally my favorite cover on here because of how cathartic the end section is. It flows so well. When the guitars finally come in and give that ending crunch, and then the final half with the bass chugging along, like, both of them remind me of elements of something I could hear on Maladroit. They're stellarly crafted points of creative liberty that are given to make this song go above and beyond the expectations of what I originally had. The beginning is kind of cut and dry. It feels a lot like the original, except for the parts where the heavy guitars come in at the Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why you had to hide away for so long. so long. And like, Rivers can do this one in its regular key. Not that Jeff Lynne was really that great of a singer to begin with, but it's impressive that he does certain straightforward things with this in a way that work. And actually, I've got to say, Rivers is the weakest part of this cover, because everything else around him, like, lifts it up to, like, the umpteenth point. And I guess that's really what sets this one apart from some of the other covers, is that the band is actually trying to sound good on this one. And sound good they do. Like, it rivals the original at some points for me, and it sort of, you know, I like that the band is sort of kind of rediscovering what parts of their sound really work from doing some of these covers. They already had a little bit of a moment of that in White Album, kind of rediscovering some of their old stuff while mixing in some of their new stuff. But I think there are a few things that they really forgot how to do that they're rediscovering on some of the better parts of this record. So, props to you, Mr. Blue Sky. You sound wonderful. Finally, on our list, we have Happy Together. The Turtles classic is easily the greatest cover on this record. Not only does it combine so much of what made the original such a classic, but there are some liberties taken here, in particular with Patrick Wilson's drumming and Rivers' vocal performance, that make this sound like a genuine attempt and not just a weird cash-in song. This sounds like lyrics that Rivers could have written for something like Maladroit or Pinkerton, you know, just kind of remembering a long-lost love and imagine me and you and me. He sells this song so well, and Pat Wilson's drumming, between like doing drum rolls for the choruses instead of doing just a basic like two-time thing, and then changing where the snare comes in during the chorus to give it like a more chunkier vibe, that with the guitars kind of coming in and giving it this just loud, big performance without having to deal with any of the horn section that the original had. The band puts all of that effort into sounding just loud and big, and it's beautiful for the kind of pop sensation they're trying to go for at this point. And I really hope that with especially these last three covers that, you know, they took these to heart and they threw a little bit of this inside the Black Album, because as much as I love cuts like Can't Stop the Hustle and Zombie Bastards, I don't know if I want to hear a full 21 Pilots record just sitting in my face. So, Weezer, I hope you take to heart that there are certain intrinsic parts of your sound that your fans really like, that you can experiment a little bit, but always remember they're there. You can use them anytime you'd like, and don't go too far away from those roots. And this is coming from some guy who loves it when y'all push the boundaries and experiment. I actually thought a lot of cuts on Pacific Daydream were really cool because of this, but with tracks like Mr. Blue Sky, Africa, and Happy Together, I think there's some things you can take away from this that will make Black Album really good. So, March 1st, we're gonna see.
His opinions are bad and his content is lazy. Lazy critiques.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you'd like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Let's get up to 100 subscribers by the end of the week. If you want to check out any more videos, I've got my demo reel on here for my freelance videography business. I also have a few music videos I've done for some local bands that I really, really like on here, if you'd like to check those out. Special thanks to Finn MK for recording my new theme song. He's a very good YouTube channel, does a lot of dubs. You might know him from that Steam Hand piano dub from about a year ago. Haven't uploaded this series in a while, so it's kind of cool to be getting back into the video essay game. Let me know what other topics you want me to check out next. I mostly want to do things on music, video games, movies. I'll do some books. If you have a book you want me to check out, I'll do a book. I'll crack into a book. You know, not much book content on here. We can go for books. Booktube.com/books. All right, catch you later.